Okay, let's talk about some of the powers of arrays, some of the things you can do with them, that is. And the first thing we want to talk about is the fact that you've already seen this, but we don't have to use an actual value, an actual argument for the sum of an array. We can just pass in it and a variable. And in that way, we can iterate through every element of the array using like a for loop. If you're going to use a for loop, make sure you use every element of the array in some task. And you perform loops that vary the loop control variable. Otherwise, you might end up with a infinite loop. It's convenient to declare a symbolic constant equal to the size of the array. The fields of the array are the instance variable, right? It's automatically assigned a value for every array created. So, for example, the length field is the number of elements in the array. And you can see that here in this sub as less than score array.length. The score array.length is a field, it's an instance field, and every time you create an array, that length is given a value, and you can use that in like a for loop. Length is a field, and it is not an array method, so it does not have parentheses. An enhanced for loop allows you to not worry about the index of the array. You can cycle through the array without giving a specified start and ending point as a loop control variable. It just iterates through every value in the array. Now here's an example. We've created an array of employee objects, 7 of them, and then we iterate through all of these employees, and we are adding their starting salary to basically for every one of the employees in the array, we are creating a new employee and we're adding it to the array. And we're giving it the start number plus X. So basically we're giving them like an employee number that starts at 101. And we're basically calling 7 individual constructors to make this array populate. We can use an enhanced for loop for every worker in the umps array. We can print it out using that enhanced for loop. And what you'll notice is the enhanced for loop is a cool structure. And it's a cool structure because it makes things kind of make sense within the array. We can call each worker worker, and then we can use worker instead of using some longer, more detailed variable name. Let me get the salary, we can show that. What I want you to know, it's very important, is that worker gets a value from the array. And if you modify the value of worker within the array, it's not going to modify the actual value. That is, in a for each loop, the value from the array is taken out of the array and passed into worker as an independent variable within this for loop. So when you change the value, nothing changes. The enhanced for loop, or the for each loop, is not used to modify an array. If you want to create an array of strings, do it the same way. You can create parallel arrays where one array holds the same amount of values as another array, and then you can use that array to call the values in the other array. And you can see this in one of the videos I make for the homeworks. You can see I've used a parallel array to work that homework assignment out. Alright, but here's an example of a parallel array. You can stop the video to look at this if you'd like. Now this is a structure that's an early exit for loop. Effectively, setting x is equal to the number of items allows us to stop the loop at the next iteration. Once you find the value, you exit, and this is using that value without the break. I think that's pretty cool, and I'll be using this a lot in the future. Okay, we're going to go and stop recording here.